Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video, we're going to be going over the basics of doing a little bit more advanced things to get into endgame in WoW, the more competitive scene in WoW. We're going to be talking about simulating your character, we're going to be talking about WeakAuras, and we're going to be talking about macros. So these three things are all used to varying levels by different players. I am a bit of a minimalist myself. This is going to be like a 101 course, the very basics. I've actually been very pleasantly surprised with how many comments I've gotten about, well, how do I simulate my character? Or, how do I use a weak aura? Are there weak auras I need to use? Do you have any special macros that you use? And this kind of correlates with what I've been seeing as well, where there seems to be a lot of new players, especially trying like Mythic Plus and stuff like that, which I love to see. And it's a bit of a learning curve, and it can lead to some feelings getting exchanged inside dungeons because you might have a bad feeling because you're trying your best and maybe you're not doing well, or someone else is getting mad at you because they're mad that you're not doing so well. So doing these things can actually help a little bit. So again, this is going to be very basic. This is going to be 101. This is an introductory course to doing some of these things that help you a lot when it comes to doing competitive WoW content or high-end WoW content, stuff that's going to get you the best gear and stuff like that. Obviously, this is mostly PvE based, but you can use weak auras and macros for PvP as well. So we'll start first with simulating your character. That's probably the one I've been asked the most so far this expansion, and there's a million guides of how to simulate your character. This is all third-party stuff, but we'll go through it all, okay? So the first thing you're going to want to do, and some people don't like add-ons at all, we'll go through literally what you need to do here. So you're going to need, you don't have to use an add-on, but I'll show you how to do it without the add-on, but it's just not as easy. So if you go to curseforge.com/wow, and you don't have to go to /wow, I don't think, but curseforge.com, you can click on World of Warcraft or whatever, but up here there's a get the app somewhere up here. Get the app button. Get CurseForge app right here, the big orange one. I don't know how I can miss it. So get CurseForge app, and you can download this. If you really do not want to download it, you can go to the World of Warcraft section and you can find the add-ons here as well. So here's details, right? This is something that most people use. A lot of people use. Here's WeakAuras, which we're going to be talking about later. So there's that. And what you're going to do, if you're going to do it this way, we'll talk about this really quick, is you're going to download it. It's going to go open up to your file folder. You're going to unzip it. You have to choose a folder to go to. You need to go to Program Files, World of Warcraft, Retail, Interface, Add-ons. Put it into the add-on folder, and then it should be available to you in game from there if you want to do it that way. I recommend using the app. It does use Overwolf. I know a lot of people are against Overwolf, and I get why. But this is the easiest way to do it, and this is meant to be easy. So I recommend getting the app. You can do it the old school way if you want. But from here, we will talk about the app. There is another thing you need to get, though, with the add-ons, right? So let's just go ahead and pull up what the app looks like. So this is the app. This is all the add-ons that I have. Some of these I don't really use anymore. And we need to find the one that you need, which is called Simulation Craft. Okay? So you want to find the download the add-on called Simulation Craft. Okay, this is going to be the easiest way to do it. You do not have to do it this way, and we will talk about that. So once you have this add-on, you've reloaded World of Warcraft, which you can either /reload or you can log out, log back in, whatever. If we go to add-ons here, we'll see Simulation Craft is one of the add-ons. Right here, Simulation Craft. To open this up, you just go open up your chat box and you type in /sim, S-I-M-C. So /\SIMC, /simc. And it's going to pull up this thing. It's already going to be copied for you, okay? It's already all selected. So you hold Control and hit C, okay? So now that's copied. So now we have all of our information copied. Okay, so we downloaded the add-on and we are in the game. We copied all of our information. We're going to take this over to RaidBots here. And for this, we'll just do a quick sim. I'm in my AoE stuff, but we'll set this up for like a single target sim. The best thing to simulate is probably your single target. So here in this box, this load from SimC add-on, this box right here, this is where you would control V. And that's going to load my character. You're going to see all my gear, all my talent choices, my hero talent choice, all of my information is right there. Everything in my bags, all that stuff is right there. Now, I said there's another way to do it without the add-on. You can just find your character. So I'm on US, Sargeras, that's my realm, Kneecap, and I can find that character, and it will load up the way I logged out last, okay? Now, why is this not the best way to do it? Because if you logged out in the wrong gear, you logged out in the wrong spec, you logged out in your tanking gear and you're a, DPS, and you're mostly play DPS or healing gear, whatever, it's going to be, and it takes a while to update. So you can't just log in, change your gear, and log out. It takes a little bit to update. So if you want to do it instantly, that's why you do the SimC thing, and then you just copy paste it down. From here, again, we're going to keep this extremely basic. So here, we're going to keep everything as SimC default. So everybody who works on your classes or specs at a very high level, right? They do all the API for you. They do everything for you. Everything is set, assuming you're going to do the correct rotation, all that stuff, right? If you want to do the correct rotation, you watch guides. If you want to do the correct rotation, you can watch my guide. You can read Wowhead. And it's all based on that. Everything's based on what simulates for the best. So the defaults are that. You can change this. We're not going to go over that in this video, but you can change this for specific things. Now, the best thing to simulate is patchwork single target. It's going to be the most accurate thing that you can simulate. You can try other things as well, and I will give you one example of an AoE thing to simulate. So you set this fight style to patchwork. If you don't know what that is, in Wrath of the Lich King, there was a boss called Patchwork. I'm not sure if he was in the original Nax or not, because I didn't get to do that raid, but he was in the Wrath version for sure. And there's a boss called Patchwork, and he was just a single target boss that just stood there, and you just needed tanks to soak. Like hateful strikes and stuff like that. And so basically a non-movement fight. You can do like slight movement, all this kind of things, execute Patchwork, but Patchwork 5 minutes. For the version, I suggest using the nightly version over here. 5 minutes, just because that's like a standard fight length. If you're like, no, this boss only takes my guild or group 4 minutes to kill, you can simulate 4 minutes too. 5 minutes, and then you just run the sim, and it's going to tell you your rough DPS, basically. It's going to take a second to run. It won't take too long here. The more stuff you're doing. So in my AoE spec, full AoE spec, this is my single target DPS because I simulated single target. So it tells you your DPS, your damage breakdown, what's doing the breakdown, what's doing the damage, tells you all your abilities and stuff like that. There's a full breakdown for you there if you want to go through it all. We'll go over some other quick things. What I like to do for AoE is Patchwork, and then I switch this bosses to like 7, let's say. Depends how big a packs you're pulling, right? And then I switch this to like 40 seconds. This is going to give me a good estimation of what I might do on like an AoE pack, right? If it had 7 things on it and it lasted 40 seconds, it's a pretty good estimation. Now, in reality, some of them might die before the others. They might not all 7 live the same length because they're going to have differing health. But it gives you a nice idea of what your DPS might be on a pack. Now, this is, of course, meant to be like, okay, well, what gear is better, right? So the best way you can do that is probably their drop demizer thing or Top Gear. So Top Gear will tell you what's best in your own bags. So let's go to Top Gear up here, and this is on the regular RaidBots site too. So you go to raidbots.com, you can go to Top Gear here as well, and then down here now, if you look, it has, and we could get into some details with this. You can change your enchants, you can mess with a lot of stuff here. But every gear in your bag and everything, you can actually test and see which piece of gear does more damage based on your settings, right? So if we set this back to 1 boss, and 5 minutes. So I could switch this up and see, okay, does this ring do more single target damage than the current rings that I have on? And you can actually try all this stuff out. You can change enchants and stuff that too. That's a little bit more advanced. But this is stuff you can do to see what's the best gear that you own in your own bags. Then there's this thing called Droptimizer. It's gotten a lot better over the years. And literally you can click on, look, we're on Mythic Plus Dungeons right now. Mythic Plus Dungeons, all dungeons. And you can simulate it at any level that you want. And it'll simulate every piece of gear that you can use from those dungeons and tell you how much damage increase each item is. So this is just a very min-max way to like know what pieces of gear to target, what's best for you. This is how people like me or Bolas or anybody else from the rec community, this is how we know like what trinkets are best, right? This is how, you know, we can test them out in the beta and stuff too, like by actually using them. But this is like how you can just simulate every single trinket and find out what's actually best for you. So yeah, that's the basics on simulating your character. You get the Simulation Craft add-on, if possible, makes it easier for you. Simulation Craft add-on. You type /simc in game, get the copy, just paste it into raidbots.com and run whatever you need to run with it. And that's kind of like the easiest way to explain it. Now, we mentioned WeakAuras as well, right? So WeakAuras is on here as well. You just look up WeakAuras. We can go to the WeakAuras site just like we went to the CurseForge site. And if you go to wago.io/WeakAuras, there's even like a Paladin thing here. A lot of my subscribers are Paladin players, so we'll go to Retribution Paladins, and you can actually just search them like this, right? If you don't even know what you're looking for, you can just see what's everyone else using, right? And there'll be like a bunch of different Ellesmere's Holy Power Trackers. So this is one that I have. I don't really use it anymore, but this is one that I have. And so this will give you this fancier looking Holy Power bar, and you can move it anywhere on your screen that you want. It's actually good because I can actually just show you this one since I have it. Let me get in combat. I think I need it loads in combat. So it's not like intrusive totally, because it only loads when you're actually fighting something. Let me get to where are the target dummies at? Over here. And we'll show you that WeakAura, for example. Now on my channel, we've talked about the blessing of Anshi WeakAura, but right here you can see 1 Holy Power, up to 4 Holy Power, and then full Holy Power. I have it hidden a little bit right now because I don't actually use it currently. But, oops, these target dummies hit back, I guess. But yeah, you can kind of see it down here. I think it might also track your Divine Toll. I'm not sure about that. It might track your Divine Toll. If I could ever get on my mount, I would. Well, maybe I can just do it from here. Maybe they won't hit me. Does it track my Divine Toll, this one? No, I don't believe so. But there's add-ons that can track your Divine Toll when that's going to hit as well. It might. I'm not sure what this bar does, to be completely honest. I just don't use it that much. But let's get out of here. So let's say we download WeakAuras right here, the add-on, right? Now to access this, we're going to type /WA in game, and it's going to bring up WeakAuras, okay? So this is like showing you a million WeakAuras on my screen right now. Most of these are from Raid and stuff like that. The one we talk about a lot on my channel is this Blessing of Anshi one. So you can find that here. From here, I can move this around, so it shows me what it looks like when it's activated. I can move this anywhere I want. This is just where I put it so I can notice it real easy, right above my action bars, a little bit below my feet. So when I know when Blessing of Anshi is ready to press, and it's just chilling right there. So it's very that would be how you find him. When you first download him, you're only going to have a couple, right? We have WeakAuras, so you're not going to have to search too hard for him, but you can just type it in the search bar. Of course, there's lots of other stuff you can do here. You can modify WeakAuras, you can modify the triggers, you can modify sounds, you can modify images. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. Again, this is just the basics of it. So you download the WeakAuras add-on, you go to the website. I guess we didn't go over that. So let's click on this Ellesmere one, right, that I already have. What I would do is I would copy the import string. It's going to say import string copied at the top here, import string copied, and you can close it. And now on here, what we do is we go to import, okay? So it's copied, and now I Control V, paste, right? And now I already have this, so it would have to be create a copy or update auras. I could update it because I haven't, you know, done that ever because I don't really use it. I use it a little bit in Shadowlands. So I'm going to update, but right here, it would say it would just say import, right? If it was new to you. I'm going to update just to do it. And yeah, and so it's the same aura, but now it's updated. So maybe it has better features now. I don't know, but that's how you do it. You download the add-on for the game, which you get to with /WA. You find the WeakAuras you want or need on the WeakAuras site. You copy import string, and then you import, paste, and then it'll load in the game, right? Having lots of WeakAuras, having lots of add-ons, it can affect performance. There's the stuff I should add, but you know, this is the kind of stuff that you're going to be doing if you're doing really high endgame stuff. Lastly, let's talk about the very basics of macros. This is not something I'm great at personally, but there are some macros that I use. To access your macros, if you don't know, you can just type in /macro. Simple as that. And you can use macros for different things. So currently, I think I'm only using one, maybe two, with my Wake of Ashes. So I think I'm using 2 macros currently. So let's just go over the ones that I'm currently using. So Final Reckoning macro. Now the first thing for this, there's no way you're gonna be able to see this writing because it's so small. But you're going to, what most people do is they want their ability to look like the ability, right? So I want my Final Reckoning to look like Final Reckoning. If I want that, if you go to, can I create a new one? Yeah, new, you can see all these icons that you can use, and you can name it whatever you want, right? Or you can just, instead of trying to search and find Final Reckoning on this list, which is in here somewhere, oh, there, it's right there. It's not that hard to find. But let's say I didn't want to do that. I can just type in hashtag or pound, whatever, hashtag show tooltip, all one word, show tooltip. And then on the next line, I'm going to have /cast bracket @player bracket, then the ability name, space, Final Reckoning. And all that does is the @player, I think you can do @self as well. And all that does is makes it cast the reticle. So Final Reckoning is a reticle ability. Let's go. Oops, I was already on it. Let's actually get Final Reckoning out here somewhere. What can we get rid of for this? There. All right. So Final Reckoning is a reticle ability, right? So I can place it wherever I want with this green reticle. By casting it @player or @self, all that does is it just casts it right underneath me. Now there's negatives to this, right? So if this is the group of mobs that I'm fighting and I'm right here, right? I need to like go walk in the middle of them real quick, right? If I want to hit all the mobs with my Final Reckoning reticle, I need to go in the middle of them. So it can be a little bit dangerous to do that. It can be a little bit non-optimal at times. I do personally, like in Mythic Plus, I just run in and pop it at a safe point and hit all the mobs. But that's just to save myself having to click the reticle, basically. Another one that I have, and that you could possibly do as well, is my Wake of Ashes is what currently, as a Ret Paladin, because I have Radiant Glory, is what activates my wings. So on the macros, so /macro, I used to have a bunch of stuff bound to my Avenging Wrath, which is right here. So I have show tooltip for Avenging Wrath, /cast my racial and trinkets as well, and my tabard as well. So I use the tabard that lights up because I'm a paladin, and so I have /use my tabard on there as well. So right now, I haven't put my trinket in yet because for Mythic Plus, I actually like to not have my trinkets macroed. But if you look right here at my Fireblood, that's my racial, I'm going to press my Wake of Ashes, and you're going to see my Fireblood trigger. So there you go. So that means that I'm popping that with my wings every time when it's up, right? And I have it up here to track when it's up. So if I want to hold for 1 second for it to come up, I can do that, right? And we can show you that macro here. If we find the Wake of Ashes symbol, there we go. So I just have show tooltip /cast Wake of Ashes /cast Fireblood. And, you know, that just casts them both. I could also type in /use Skarmrak Shard, or you can name it by your trinkets, right? It's 1516. Now, not everybody watching this is going to be a Ret Paladin likely, so therefore, you know, you know, these specific macros might not be that helpful to you. So what I recommend you doing is just searching. You can Google them. You can go to a specific guide maker of your spec, and you can search macros, or you could just search macros for, you know, whatever, Frost Mage or whatever you happen to play, right? And there'll be some useful macros there. I know there are some on the Wowhead. There are some on Icy Veins. If you go to like your class or your spec guide on those websites, where it's a little bit easier, in my opinion, for macros specifically, it's a little bit easier to read and look at them that way than in a video. But I did want to go over at least how to make macros. Like I said, I don't use a ton of macros right now. I am using 2, I guess, technically. But, well, technically 3 even. So I also have a focus macro on my Blessing of Freedom. So that way I can just cast it at my focus and not have to untarget the boss. And to do that, so let's say I want to set a focus. Can I set focus on random players? Yes. So I set this person as focus. Now I can't cast Blessing of Freedom on them because they're not in my party. But now if I was targeting the boss over here and I cast Blessing, and let's say they were in my party and I cast Blessing of Freedom, it'll just cast on them, right? And I'll just be over here fighting and I don't have to untarget. So that's a good thing about like a focus macro. You can do mouse over macros. You don't have to do those anymore because they added an option in game for that. But all kinds of options there when it comes to macros as well. But again, we're just going to try to stick to the basics. If you want more macros for your spec, I would suggest looking them up on those guides I mentioned. And yeah, that's the basics for simulating. That's the basics of WeakAuras, and that's the basics on macros. That hopefully that answers a lot of questions. If I'm getting 10s or 20s of questions of these on a small channel, I can only imagine that there's thousands or 10,000s of players out there that are having these questions, because they can't all just be coming to me. So there has to be a bunch of other ones out there as well. And so this is the basics on how to do it. It can maybe seem a little bit overwhelming, especially using third-party stuff if you're not used to that, right? Getting this CurseForge app and stuff like that. This is just the easiest way to do it because they just you can just open it up. So let's say you don't want to keep it open, you don't like Overwolf, you can open it up and it'll say update add-ons. It say up to date, recently updated, and it just updates in your folder itself. If you do it manually, you have to literally pull them in manually each time that you do it. So the app is a lot simpler. I get it not wanting to use it. Raidbots is probably the simplest thing of all this because you don't even technically need an add-on because you can do it the other way with just typing in your character's name. Raidbots is probably the easiest thing to use, so simulating your character. WeakAuras is another step up, and macros is kind of in the middle of that, where you just kind of need to find the macros that you like, that other people have already made, and then just use them. So that'll be it for this one. Like I said, I hope this helps. I'm not the king of any of these things, but I am someone who uses them and knows how to use them and like to think that I can communicate things well to people or teach people. So hopefully that can work out for anybody who had those questions. So that will be it for this one. As always, I do ask you to please subscribe to the channel because that helps me out the most. If you're already a subscriber, I encourage you to check out the Patreon. And other than that, everybody have a good one.